Hello, everybody. I'm Theo, and these are the things that I watched in January of 2022. To see a higher quality version of the art in this video, please check out my Instagram at TitanWizardFiona or my Twitter at TitanWizardFio with a 0. Both are linked in the description. I'll talk about why I wanted to start this series at the end, so stick around if you're interested. Also, disclaimer, I am just an average moviegoer who likes films. I don't really care about all the snobbish talk or ratings, and you have the ability to like the movies you like and not like the movies you don't like. You're entitled to your own opinions. With that being said, let's start with the first movie. Tick, Tick, Boom, a movie musical starring Andrew Garfield as Jonathan Larson, a struggling composer for musicals that can't seem to find success anywhere. This film takes us through Larson's journey through balancing passion, work, and relationships. So I have been a casual Tick, Tick, Boom fan since my Hamilton phase. I've always followed all of Lin-Manuel Miranda's projects and grew to know of some of the songs of Tick, Tick, Boom, but I wasn't too familiar with the show, but I definitely knew all the music beforehand. But one thing that really stood out to me was I really enjoyed the adaptations of the songs and the movie's interpretation of each of them. I just really loved how they twisted some of them, especially like Green Dress, and I thought that their adaptation of the songs were very faithful, but also unique at the same time. I'm just going to start out by listing some of my thoughts on the movie. So the first thing that I immediately noticed was the amount of musical actor cameos. There are literally so many, and it was really interesting because I saw the movie with a friend who was not familiar with any musicals. Literally the only musicals he's ever seen were musicals that I were in, so he didn't know any of these people, and he just thought they were just normal actors. But he would be so concerned when I would jump up being like, "Oh my god, that's Lauren Marcus," or "Oh my god, look at all these actors, look, it's MJ Rodriguez, oh my gosh, look at all these people." And then he was just so concerned. But I just thought it was really interesting. You have so many really talented musical actors, and just even the smallest roles, I saw Kate Rockwell there, I forget exactly who was there, but there was just so many different musical cameos, and I just thought it was a neat little touch, even if you aren't a musical theater fan. But if you are, it was just really cool and fun. I thought it was really nice. Andrew was great, just straight up, he was awesome. I've always been an Andrew Garfield fan. Putting aside my past history of being a fan of his, I just thought he was a very convincing and sympathetic actor, and I am so glad that this film is kind of the kick of the Andrew Renaissance, and everybody's now realizing how amazing he is, because I have been saying this for so long. I'm like, guys, look, he's literally an actor in an 8-hour play. Why aren't you guys giving him, why aren't you recognizing how, amazing he is? And I'm just so glad that, this movie really, let him shine in a way. You could see all his vulnerability, and I thought he portrayed Larson in such a realistic and, authentic way, reflecting Larson's mannerisms and everything. It was just very faithful. All the musical talent was fitted so well, especially Robin DeJesus, Vanessa Hudgens, In the Heights fans be quaking, and Alexandria Shipp, I hope that I said her name right. All of them were super talented. I was so shocked. I was like, "Miss Girl, is that Sunny? Is that Sunny I see?" I was like, I recognize him. And then I was like, oh my god, it's Robin. Oh my god, it's Sunny. In the Heights fans be literally quaking. But I just thought, besides what they were known for in the past, I thought that they were super well in the roles that they took upon. And I thought their voices matched very well, especially Vanessa. She was just so good in her performance. Her vocals are so good, guys. They're just so good. I also like that it's very heartbreaking, but like in a good way, and it brought out my inner theater kid. It just had so much raw emotion, and I like that. I like that a lot. I also thought that this movie did a really good portrayal of the era of Larson and the musical theater competition at the time, as well as the ignorance of the AIDS crisis. I feel like in today's climate, like revisiting the times of ignorance and really appreciating what we have now more than ever, and what past LGBTQ people had to go through, and the lack of resources that they had. Like, you really feel like you're in that moment and in that era, and I thought that they portrayed it really well, and you could just feel the heartbreak of all their friends. So, moral of the story, it's a good movie if you like existentialism, overworking artists fueled by passion, dramatic relationships, and just fun musical boys, you know? Just a good old time, good grand old time. This technically doesn't count. This movie does not count because I did not finish it because one, I just didn't want to, and two, when I started it, I just wasn't in the mood to watch a movie, and I wanted an excuse for my older sister to leave me alone. So don't look up. It's a movie about scientists predicting a world-ending comet hitting Earth and the world just not caring. I didn't finish it. I really didn't care to finish it. But from what I saw, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I really only watched it, one, because my big sister was forcing me to, and for Ananiah, which I only found out he was in the movie later on, and I didn't get to his part. But I may just finish it up just for him. My only good thing I have to say is Jennifer Lawrence is pretty good, though. I really like her portrayal from what I saw. And yeah, it's a movie. It is definitely a movie that I will not be finishing ever. Okay. We're all sick of it. We're all sick of every bitch on this goddamn app talking about the same fucking movie. But I'm going to talk about it anyways. So, Disney's Encanto. You're sick of it. I know you are. But in case you don't know what it is, it's Disney's new story about a magical family in a magical casita where the main character battles through being giftless in a household where their entire family was given gifts. And what is there really to say that hasn't been said before? My thoughts, the very first thought is that I'm so glad that John Leguizamo voiced Bruno and not Lin-Manuel Miranda. God. This movie is so Lin-Manuel Miranda. When I tell you, I first heard We Don't Talk About Bruno on TikTok, like just when it started on TikTok. But I didn't hear the English version first. I heard the Spanish version first, and I was like, damn, this shit slaps. And then I realized it was in English, and I was like, damn, this shit slaps even harder. But as soon as I heard Peppa even speak a little bit, I was like, she is literally just a carbon copy of In the Heights. She literally is. And the whole style of We Don't Talk About Bruno is literally just like every In the Heights like group song. Like, this shit is literally just the club. It literally is. It literally is Carnaval de Barrio. Like, this shit is literally just In the Heights. But am I complaining? No. I love In the Heights. And I love Lin-Manuel Miranda's music. And no matter if they sound exactly the same and they're in the exact same format, I love it so much. And he's truly mastered making awesome music, especially like all the songs that he worked on. Very, very good. It works beautifully. Each song is a banger, or so emotionally draining and existential that I physically just cannot. Like Waiting on a Miracle, it is me. Stop calling me out. Literally, stop calling me out. Surface Pressure, stop calling me out again. What else can I do? Literally, stop calling me out. Literally, all of the sister songs is just me. Okay? It's just me. Literally, this has been said 1,000,001 times before, but I'm just going to speed run through it. The cast is incredible. The animation is gorgeous as always, especially the special effects like the flowers for Isabella. My only, say quote unquote complaint is with Luisa's song. I thought her style of animation was very similar to like Moana's aspect of it, and I thought like the humor with like making the donkeys dance kind of detracted from like the seriousness of the song, but it was still fun nevertheless and still great regardless. That's like my only quote unquote complaint, I would say. This movie covers so many great themes of abuse and intergenerational trauma that is very relatable to all brown people, especially myself. And even if you're not a part of like a minority or cannot relate to the intergenerational trauma, it's still really refreshing to see this common abuse that's passed through many brown people like being shown on the big screen and being talked about, because it's just never talked about, and it's something that plagues a lot of our lives. And I'm so glad that animation is finally covering the subject, or at least like mainstream animation that is seen by millions. This one also doesn't count, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. FNAF Security Breach. It doesn't count. It's a video game, but I did watch a playthrough, and I'm going to say one sentence about it. It's buggy, but I'm queer, so I found the characters enjoyable nonetheless. Now let's continue. Continuing on, we have Dune, a space movie that isn't Star Wars, but for real. It's a movie following Timothée Chalamet as Paul, a gifted young man who is heir to the throne and has some destiny way beyond him, yada 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 lore shit. You know, the drill. I seriously couldn't take Timmy seriously. Like, I just couldn't take Timothée Chalamet seriously at all through the entire movie. I kept making up nicknames for him, and anytime he did something dumb or did something where he would get himself into trouble or get other people into trouble, I would just be like, Timmy, no! Timmy, don't go! Tim, come back! Don't do that! Don't do that, Tim! Oh no, Tim! Come back! Come back, Tim! But that kind of made the movie more enjoyable. It literally has nothing to do with the movie, with just Timothée Chalamet. I don't see what people find appealing about him, but he was good in the movie. I just loved shouting at him and being like, no, Tim, don't go that way. I thought the movie was so beautifully shot. It looks absolutely stunning and gorgeous. All the world building and like scenery is just absolutely amazing. But this is where people are going to hate me and people are going to get upsetty spaghetti. But I thought some of the shots could have been condensed just a little bit, because this movie is extremely long and has so much plot in it. And I feel like you could have cut out like at least 10 minutes of them just like staring off into the distance. Like, I get it, you're trying to like build suspense, whatever, but at some points the movie just drags just a little too long. Despite me absolutely flaming Tim, my boy, he was actually pretty good. It was definitely an upgrade from seeing him last in Lady Bird, though I heard he was great in Little Women, so I gotta go check that out. But when I saw him in Lady Bird, I was like, damn, this is it. This is the actor that everybody's hyping up. He's just some normal dude with like cheekbones. I didn't understand, but he was actually pretty good. I thought he was a pretty good actor in this one. There was great world building, and I loved how they left some mysteries and didn't try to cram shut like all the answers in one movie, especially for how long it is. I felt like it feels like a really good setup for what I imagine is going to be a long-standing series of multiple movies. And it's very detailed and elaborate with all the species and governments. I really appreciated the time they took to really set up where you were and how the rules are of this society in this universe. It's not the most interesting the whole way, I will give it that, but the scenes that it was interesting and intense were very interesting and very intense. Like, when the movie got going, it went hard. It was brutal and vicious, and it was so entertaining. And those moments of the movie, I feel like, made it worth sitting and getting through all that world building. And I feel like this movie is just a very good setup with good potential. Like, this movie by itself is a pretty alright movie, pretty long and kind of uninteresting for parts of it, but it makes up by giving you the potential and giving you thoughts in your mind of what can happen next and where are they going to go with this, and now I know this interesting world and now I know all these characters, what are they going to do with it? And I think that it did a good job with setting it up. Also, side note, this isn't in my notes at all, but I just remembered I am so glad they didn't kill the mom. I was like, if they're gonna kill the mom and just leave us with Timmy Boy, I'm not watching the rest of these movies. But I'm glad they kept the mom. I'm glad we have a little piece of what was before and we can take it as a person who knows the world. I'm glad that they kept her alive. The last movie I saw in January was Shangti and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Man, that's a mouthful. This is a Marvel movie that doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. It's almost like a homage to the traditional martial arts movies. I'm sorry if I butcher his name really badly, but this story follows Shangti, who's played by the badass Simu Liu, who is confronting his past mistakes with family while also trying to save his belated mother's village. This is a very fun and funny movie. I actually liked Awkwafina's character, unlike with Raya. And yes, I know, they could have just left her on the bus, and they probably should have. But she was a fun tag-along nevertheless. It's just my opinion, and I understand why some people don't like her character, but I thought she was actually pretty funny. Mongar Zhang, sorry if I butcher her name, was so good. Every actor was so good, but especially her. It had some good feminine empowerment without down-talking the audience. The fights were cheesy, but they were fun. It felt like a martial arts movie. It felt like the cheesiness was purposeful and tasteful and very artistic. I thought that the designs and the set was super cool. I loved the creatures so much, and I loved the inspiration they took from Chinese folklore and culture, and it was very cool. The movie was also a lot more brutal than I thought it was going to be. Like, damn, I forgot that this was Marvel. Like, I love it. And I feel like a lot more Marvel movies should be this brutal. And movies in general. Like, they weren't kidding. They could kill off people just like that. I was like, damn, bro. So that's all the movies I got around to watching in January. For reference, I am a senior in high school who was swamped with college applications, AP homework, and a billion different extracurriculars that I wanted to get out of my system before I ended high school. This is where all the movie stuff is done, but if you want to stick around and hear why I decided to start this, go ahead. Otherwise, feel free to leave if you don't want to hear it. But yeah, I'm going to talk about why I decided to start this series. I wanted to start this because I just really wanted to consume more media and art. I wanted to do this because, number one, I wanted to get more artistic inspiration, and I get that a lot through viewing more art and more media, and it really inspires me to create myself. And also, number two, to enrich myself and gain more world experiences through my home or through theaters, since I am broke and I can't travel everywhere and I can't experience everything. And I feel like film is a really good way to experience so many different cultures and worlds that you aren't able to yourself. And number three, just to have an excuse to watch more. I love film. It's been a pretty steady hobby of mine just to watch movies and watch other people talk about movies. I love watching people talk about movies so much. I put it on in the background of me drawing all the time, and I just really want an excuse to just watch more and force myself to watch more, because I barely get to watch any nowadays because I'm always so busy doing so much stuff. But I just want to force myself to do something that I want to do for once, you know? I also just wanted to start doing more video content that is casual and just for fun. I've dabbled in animation and speed paints before, but I just wanted to do this for fun, because why not? I like showing people my art, and I like showing people the process of my art, and I feel like through this video format, people can see the time and effort I really put into my art, and can kind of see the process, because I think the process is really interesting. And also, I just really like talking about my opinions on things, and especially on movies, and I don't really care about being successful or having the right opinions. I just really want to talk about the stuff that I see and I find interesting, whether in a good way or a bad way. I just really love movies, man, and channels that talk about film. My main inspiration for this series obviously is Carson Rundquist, who is just a great man overall. I love the formats of his videos. I love his opinions. He's just pretty swag dude. Go check him out. You probably know him more than you know me. So if you don't know him, what are you doing with yourself? Commented on this a little bit, but I just really want to share more of my art process, because on my Instagram people see the final product, but they don't really get to see the process in which I create it, other than the 30-second speed paints that I can put on Instagram, which are really cool to see nonetheless, but still I feel like a much slower one is a lot more interesting, especially if you want to see like how I do line art, because I do line art in a really like specific way. And seeing like, oh, how do I choose colors? How do I do this or that? And I've had some people ask questions about that, so they can just observe. And I feel like learning is mostly through observation. So if anybody wants to learn, they can just watch, or if you just like seeing the process. I know some people just really like seeing the process of art. I especially love seeing the process of art. I love like seeing sketches go into liner, going into coloring, and just seeing it all come together. I say this is a quote-unquote slow speed paint, but I probably sped this up like by 6 times. I really just want to show people the amount of work that I put into my pieces. This piece here took 3 hours and 14 minutes, which isn't too long. I definitely spend longer on other pieces, but this one I just felt like in the creative mood. I was just in the flow, man. I was just really into it, and 3 hours doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. Spending 3 hours, I mean, most of my time I spend like 8 to 10 hours on some pieces, but this one just felt real natural, so I just spent 3 hours on it. But that just shows you, oh my god, this is 3 hours worth of art that is condensed into like 20 minutes. I don't even know how long this video is going to be, but it's still interesting to see it slightly more slow down, By the way, this is an illustration of Hirogami from Haikyuu. If you are a part of the manga readers, you know. I love him so much, and he shares the same birthday as my younger sibling, which is really swag. But I just love him so much. Thanks for making it to the end. Leave what movies you watched this month down below and your opinions on them. Oh, and don't forget to love creations and to love to create.